was a strong and friendly fella with the name of Campanella. He was someone special, I could see right off the bat. There was something...
Webcasting from the Little Bell Publishing Studios in Rockton, Illinois, this is The Mortgage Messenger with host Jim Campanella. Welcome to The Mortgage Messenger. A couple weeks back, we started a series of podcasts, the first one being about building the right team and the importance of using a real estate professional. Today we're going to continue that series and talking about your loan officer or your lender. Obviously, unless you're paying cash for your home, you need a loan officer or a lender, but it's important to choose the right one. So I've come up with 5 questions you should be asking your lender or your loan officer to help you determine if they're the right one. The first question is, what type of lender or loan officer are they? Are they a mortgage broker, mortgage banker, or a commercial bank? There is no right or wrong answer, but it's important for you to know if they're a lender, a commercial bank lender, or if they're a broker, or if they're a mortgage banker. Real quickly, the difference being a commercial bank would be exactly that, a commercial bank. Most commercial banks, by the way, are either mortgage brokers or bankers themselves. Very few banks actually keep the loans nowadays. Everyone underwrites it to Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, or FHA standards, but very few keep it. Somebody like a Bank of America, a Wells Fargo, or a Chase probably keep the loan themselves. But your local bank down the street is probably a mortgage broker or banker. So it's good to know that. Again, there is no right or wrong answer on who you want to deal with, but it's useful to know. Second question is, do you service your loans? All the loans are underwritten to Freddie Mac, Fannie Mae standards, FHA standards, and they're sold. The loans are packaged together in pools and securitized. They're called mortgage-backed securities, or MBSs. Very few, and I mean very few, banks are actually keeping the loans themselves. So the actual loan is sold in these MBSs, but they may be able to maintain the servicing. Somebody like a Bank of America or a Chase or a Wells Fargo may keep the servicing of the loan, even though they've sold the loan as a mortgage-backed security. Again, is that important? May or may not be to you. When I started in the industry back in 1985, I worked for a savings and loan. We had customers who came to us simply because they wanted to come into the office to make their mortgage payment. Times were different back in the 80s, or even before the 80s, and that was important to people. They didn't trust the mail or whatever. They wanted to bring their payment to the bank. Nothing wrong with that. If you're the same way, then you may want to go with somebody who keeps the servicing, like as I talked about some of the bigger banks. If it doesn't matter to you because of bill paying online or the internet banking and everything else, then you go after the best rate you can get, or the best service you can get. And it's irrelevant on whether or not the servicing is being kept by the lender that you happen to choose, or the loan officer that works for that lender. The third item I came up with on my list of important things, and this one's more of a personal thing than anything else, but I think it's going to come into play more and more, is you should ask your loan officer, are they registered on NMLS, the Nationwide Mortgage Licensing System? A previous podcast had talked about NMLS and the importance of that under the SAFE Act, which is a new law that's going in effect. All loan officers, whether they were for a bank, credit union, mortgage broker, or banker, in time are going to have to be on the NMLS. Not everybody is currently. But if you happen to be working with a loan officer who is already registered on the system, that gives you some indication that maybe they are a true professional. They're taking their industry serious. They've taken the first steps. They're proactive in joining the NMLS. So that's, to me, a useful question. You can research them on the NMLS, as my previous podcast had highlighted. You can find that information at www.nmlsconsumeraccess.org. No need to write it down. You can just go to our website and the information's there also. But from there, you can pull up any loan officer, any lender, or any branch office and do some research on them. Again, the system is just now being put into place, so not everybody will be in there yet, but it's a good question to ask your loan officer if they are registered with NMLS. If they're not, again, that does not mean they're not a good loan officer, but my personal opinion is if you're going to be a professional in our industry, you should take the time and be proactive about the registration. The fourth question I would have, if you're not already being referred to somebody by someone else, if you're doing cold calling on this for a lender or a loan officer, is how do they get their customers? Again, there is no right or wrong answer, but somebody who gets their customers from personal referral, whether it be from real estate agents or attorneys or accountants or previous customers, is probably somebody who has gained the respect of other professionals. Because certainly a real estate agent wouldn't be referring, as an example, me to a customer if they didn't feel I could get the job done, if they couldn't trust that I would finish the job for them. So if you find a loan officer who says, I get a lot of my referrals from realtors and stuff, or from my previous customers, that's probably an indication that this is a professional, somebody who's going to take the time because they want to win your trust. I am not knocking the internet services that are out there. Certainly purchasing a lead from a customer is not a bad way of doing business, but that's more of a transactional versus relationship type of a situation. Somebody who's going on the internet simply because they want to give you the best rate, there's nothing wrong with obtaining the best rate. But more so than the best rate is maybe a competitive rate with really good service. And working with a loan officer who is really a professional. Now again, I'm not saying the ones that are on the internet are not professionals, but they've chosen a method of just getting you as a customer versus developing a relationship with you. So that may be another question. Question number 4 that you'd want to ask is how they obtain their customers. If you're following the order, the logical order of the way things are going nowadays, even before you get your real estate agent, possibly even before your attorney, you're talking to a loan officer about getting pre-approved or pre-qualified. So if you don't have a relationship with a real estate professional or an attorney, your 5th question could be, do you have somebody you would recommend? Most loan officers certainly work with certain realtors or real estate professionals, and certainly attorneys and so forth, and they could refer you back to somebody who they like to work with. Again, if you don't have that relationship already and you have to build this team of people to help you with that purchase, working with somebody that the loan officer that you happen to choose is a good idea. So certainly not saying that you have to work with somebody they would recommend, but it's a great starting point. Personal referrals is usually the best source of finding both your loan officer as well as your real estate agent. And if you don't have an attorney to represent you. Should you wish to find more information about how to obtain a loan officer or the process of getting yourself pre-approved or pre-qualified, please visit our website at www.mortgagemessenger.net. If you happen to have our iPhone app, certainly you can send a message right from your iPhone. Or should you have any questions or other comments, again, visit our website or drop me an email, and I'd be happy to answer the questions you may have in a future podcast. Coming up in a future podcast, we'll address the 3rd person on our team, the team that we're going to build to help make this purchase a reality, and that be an attorney who specializes in real estate transactions. So until next time, thank you for viewing.
I can't forget you, Campanella. You're still the MVP within my heart. You're still the MVP within my heart.